Well, we are back for our second episode officially, which is funny because we are technically recording this after our third episode. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, this is the TNT Pod, the podcast with a short fuse and an even shorter attention span. Short fuse. Short attention span. So, happy to be back. We have a little bit more of a dialed in topic this time. It's not just us rambling. This episode we're talking. The theme is movies and television. That's kind of our theme, and we're got a few movies and stuff.
Movies and Netflix. Is your show on Netflix?
No. There's only one that's Netflix.
But, well, and then we have Power. Okay, you're right.
But before we get into that, we've had a pretty good day. It's Sunday, so we had church, and then we usually go eat here in town, but we decided to deviate from that today.
Take a little road trip.
We went to Macandoo's.
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 Look at you,
Macandoo's.
It's you're like Macandoo's is the radio.
Yeah, Macandoo's.
Macandoo's.
And we ran into like a bunch of friends from down in the Marion area, and all of them are musicians that that I've known for probably 7 years now, pretty much. I think you've known a couple of them even longer than that.
Just a couple. I met them a few years ago.
Several of them play in different bands too. One, before we get into our main topic today, that we want to just take a moment and promote. We had a good conversation with several of the guys in that group today, and they have an upcoming show, so we want to support them. So I think you got a little bit more of those details than I did, so I'm going to let you talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I was talking to Matthew. He's one of the guys. He's a part of the band, and he just said something about getting like their advertisement out there to their shows. And I said, if it's okay with you, I was like, I don't know if you know this, but Trey and I, we've started a podcast, and I was like, if it's okay with you, I was like, we'll put a little dig in there for you guys and advertise for you guys. So if you're up in the Bristol way, February 17th, they will be at the Hard Rock Casino. First of all, their name is Alpine Motel. Mm-hmm.
And I'll post a little picture, and we'll in our description on YouTube at least, we'll put a link to that. And when we share this on Facebook, we'll make sure we drop that. But their name is Alpine Motel. They're primarily a duo. They're brothers. But like a lot of those, we know those guys. I know those guys from a church called Highlands Fellowship, and I don't know that these guys are. They're Christians, but I don't know that they're Christian music per se. It's kind of indie rock.
It's really good.
They sound great. The guitar player is phenomenal.
We listened to them on the way home,
we did.
Then I listened to them just now in my office.
Yeah, they're great guys. They've been supportive of us. I mean, we were just going to say goodbye to them, and they started talking to me about some of my stuff, and I was just like, thanks. Like, I never know what to say when people bring it up. I'm thankful, but I'm always awkward. But please go see them February 17th at the Hard Rock Casino in Bristol. I think that's on the Tennessee or Virginia. We'll give more details. It starts at 6 p.m.
I'm guessing it's that casino they just built. I'm not sure
it's the casino
what
that they
is,
just built. The show starts at 6. It is a 21 and over show. So leave the children at home. But I think we're gonna try to make it out to it. They're playing, and then I believe you said
Joey's Van.
Joey's Van Band.
Joey's Van. Okay,
Band.
I said Vans. Okay, so it's Van. Joey's Van.
Joey's Van Band.
They're after. They're at 11. I think.
A couple other friends of mine from them, and several of those guys actually play with Alpine Motel when they play live. Like I said, they're primarily a duo, but they play live a little bit. Or not a little bit. When they play live, they have several other people that play instruments with them to fill it out, and that way they can eliminate having to use tracks.
Yes.
So okay, we're gonna dive into this. Move past that. We're gonna start out with our first real topic discussion on our podcast, and it is movies and television. So what we're going to do with this first time doing this, we've essentially brought a movie apiece and a TV show apiece, and if time allows, we might have a shared TV show that we kind of watch together. So the way this is going to work, and this may be the only time we do it in this format. Usually going forward, what we probably will do is maybe review newer movies. If this format works well, we may revisit this at some point, but want to do a lot of new movies as well. These aren't old movies, but they're new to streaming, so they're not really in theaters at the moment. One of them might be in theaters, but it's on streaming, so I don't really count that as much. But let's go ahead and dive into it.
Yeah.
The first one is a movie called The Menu. And it came out in 2022. It came out November 2022. But it didn't hit streaming until, I want to say January 3rd. So we watched it. We probably watched it a week or two after that. It's been a couple of weeks. I think it was the week before we started the podcast. So this movie, it stars Ray Fiennes, who now is going by Ralph Fiennes. That kind of surprised me when I was looking into this earlier today. If you don't know who that is, it's Voldemort. It's Voldemort. Oh my God. So, I mean, that's not the only, Harry Potter's not the only things that he's been in, but
yeah,
he's been in plenty
great. He's a great actor.
Another lead in this is Anna Taylor-Joy, who, man, the last couple of years, this girl has been in everything. Anna Taylor-Joy. She's been in everything. She was I was watching The Northman the other day. She was in that, and she's been in several different things. I mean, she's become very popular. And then there's Nicholas Hoult, who one of my favorite movies that he's been in is Warm Bodies. We were talking about that a little while ago. He played the main guy in that. A lot of people may know him as Beast from the newer X-Men movies, where he played in X-Men First Class and a lot of those. I wasn't as huge of a fan of those, but I like Nicholas Hoult pretty good. It was directed by Mark Mylod, something like that. I'm not familiar with a lot of his work, but he looks like he's directed some like Shameless episodes, Game of Thrones episodes. He's directed some other stuff, but nothing that either one of us are that familiar with. This is my movie. You can hear from her laugh. She's probably not gonna like it as much as I did, and to say that I liked it is maybe a bit of an overstatement. I'll get into that in a second. I want to read the synopsis now that I've brought up the name of the movie, people in it, the director. But it's about a young couple that travels to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. Man, is that an understatement?
Oh boy!
I was looking into this movie. I actually watched reviews on it before we even watched it, and I went back and watched a little bit of those today, to kind of prepare for this. And it's classified as a horror movie and a thriller. At least on IMDb. Some other places it's considered to be a dark comedy, which I like dark comedies. This is a movie that I'm definitely not going to recommend to everybody. That there's 90% of the people that I meet, I'm not going to recommend this movie to.
Right.
To say I like it would be, might not be the right words. This makes it sound like I don't like it. I do like this movie, but I don't like it in the same way that I like a lot of movies. I think it's a very well shot movie. I think the way that they tackle some things, the way that they shoot the food in this movie, it's like we said, it's about a restaurant on a remote island. The way that they shoot the food is beautiful. But essentially what this movie kind of is about, and without giving any spoilers, we don't want to get into any spoilers, but it's essentially about, we see it through the eyes of Anna Taylor-Joy's character, and she ends up, she's not really supposed to be here, and I don't want to, I don't want to,
she was not part of it.
She's not supposed to be there. She's kind of a last minute addition, and with that, she, we kind of see through her eyes. We're kind of in that character with her of, we're not really supposed to be here, and it's very much kind of a commentary, which I don't really get into movies that are big commentaries on things. I don't go into that, but it kind of talks about how the two sides of the service industry, and not so much when you say that, for middle class people like us, when we say the service industry, we immediately think of waitresses.
Right.
We think of people doing that, but it's sure you could maybe say that to some degree with this, but it's much more about your culinary people, your people that go to school for culinary arts, and it becomes it's a huge deal, and it's so serious, and it's that. So they kind of show that side, and they show the other side of that with the fancy dining and the people who go and eat this fancy food and pay all this money for it. Right. And it shows it doesn't hold back on showing that both sides are pretentious people. There
was like a lot of, they say in the movie, wasn't it like $1,500 they paid to?
It was around $1,200. It was $1,200 and some change.
It was a lot. I'm like,
yeah, and it there was one, there, and to kind of go into that a little bit more, some of the people that are portrayed at this restaurant on this island, you have some of the people there eating, or you have some like food critics, right. And I think those food critics have
they've done some
rated
bad things.
Yeah, they have. I think they actually got the chef's restaurant shut down a couple of times. He's kind of mad about that. Mm-hmm. There's a movie star there who all he really did was irritate the chef at some point. I think the chef watched one of his movies and got irritated. That's why he's on the island. There was some other people, and basically, without going too far into the story, the chef turns this dinner and kind of turns it in kind of a revenge plot. He's pretty pretentious. He's just as bad as all the people there in my opinion, and it's very much about his ego. And some of these people have ticked him off to some degree, so now he wants fiery revenge, and he's taking everybody down. And again, we're there kind of with Anna, and we're like, what is going on? Why am I here, and how do we get out? So in those ways,
we're like rooting for her to get out. She wants out. We're like, and go get out.
Yeah, and she has some smart moments, and I liked her character to a degree. And I think for me, I find it more interesting than I would say that I really liked it. But I found it a very interesting movie. There was a lot of things that I didn't expect. And for me, you know me, how many times have we sit and watch TV or movies and I'll be like, this is going to happen. And then it happens, or it's something similar. I was like, I could write this. Yeah. This was a movie where I might have said that once, but it had enough twists that it kept me on the edge of my seat. And I think I've seen so many movies at this point in my life that as long as it's entertaining, I don't care. But this movie genuinely had me kind of like guessing at some points. Right. I watched a review today and they were like, oh, you didn't see the ending coming. And I was like, I was like, I wouldn't take it that far. Like I think the guy was like, oh, it's an unpredictable ending. And I was like, no, it was like, I kind of seen that coming to some degree, maybe not exactly. But there's still enough twists and turns that I found it to be very interesting. So what do you have anything that I know you didn't really care for this movie? So
I didn't. I mean, it was fun. I mean, it kept you on your toes as far as that goes. I didn't get bored. My favorite, I do have to say, I will say this one thing, the Anna Taylor, she's my girl, because she didn't want any of that, like,
yes.
I mean, I want to.
She was like a lot of normal people where they're like, she
was like my girl. She just wanted a cheeseburger and fries.
Yeah.
Like
she's like a lot of normal people where she's like, I don't care about the art of the food. You take this too serious. I just like, even the guy she was there with, he was such a fanboy of the chef that he basically wanted to be the chef. He was like the only one there that wasn't like, he wasn't an aristocrat. He wasn't rich. Right. I believe he saved up money to do this because he was such a fanboy. But that kind of tackles and talks about people who are like real. I watched a thing that was kind of breaking it down, and his character is supposed to represent like all these people who post like food. Like food pictures on Instagram. So his character is supposed to represent that, which makes sense because if you think about it, he takes food pictures all the time when he's not supposed to. which sorry, I didn't mean to ruin that, but that's not the biggest deal. But yeah, so I would recommend this movie. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody, but not because I don't think it's a good movie. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody because it is a strange movie. It's weird. It's not a family movie. It is rated R. So if you like interesting movies, if you like a little something different, this is something to watch. But don't watch it and hate me for telling you to watch it. I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I would recommend watching it. It's free to watch on HBO Max if you have a subscription. So yeah, there's that one. Would you recommend it?
I think so. I mean, it wasn't my favorite, but it was fun to watch. So
definitely wasn't my favorite. I don't know that I would watch.
It's definitely over like 5 out of 10. Yeah. So it was an interesting movie.
I don't know that. I would watch it again. We actually talked about watching it again.
Yeah.
It's not a movie I'm going to watch repeatedly, though.
Right.
I would like to watch it again because we're talking about it on the podcast. So I would like to talk about it to see if, kind of what I'm talking about made sense and to see some of the points that they made. But after that, probably not. That's where I recommend it and send it off. All right. So we're going to move on and we're going to go to yours now.
Oh, yes.
And
I did make notes. So I hope that's
did you?
Okay.
Yeah, so you get those ready because I'm gonna let you talk about this, but I'm just gonna bring up who's in it and that kind of thing, kind of similar to what I did earlier. So this one is Shotgun Wedding.
This is so fun.
It released on Prime Video, Amazon Prime Video. I think 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah, it's like fresh. I think it's fresh out. New.
It stars Jennifer Lopez and Josh Duhamel. And
yes,
it has another one on here, and I'm surprised it has him as like a leading character. It has Lenny Kravitz in there. He's a little bit smaller of a character, but he's definitely in there. It's also got what is her name?
Oh my goodness, please say it. Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to give it. I loved when she came in. Oh my goodness. So if you don't know who Jennifer Coolidge is, if you've ever seen
Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde, thank you. If you've ever seen Legally Blonde, and Cinderella Story, that's where I first saw her with Hilary Duff. Jennifer Coolidge is the woman who, when Reese Witherspoon is dressed up in her 4th of July gear, Jennifer is the one that says,
come on, you do such a good impersonation of it. Come on.
I don't know if I can do it. I'm under pressure. She's like, oh, you look like the 4th of July. Makes me want a hot dog real bad. And she's that woman, and she is in this movie, and she does great in this movie. So she's not up there and she should be.
She's funny.
Yes, she's hilarious. I will say this: she grabs a machine gun in this movie and just goes to town because we'll give you the machine gun. We'll tell you why.
So the description synopsis of this movie is: Darcy and Tom gather their families for the ultimate destination wedding, but when the entire wedding party is taken hostage, the bride and groom must save their loved ones. If they don't kill each other first.
Right.
That is true.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I've already mentioned it's got Jennifer Lopez and Josh Duhamel. I'm not gonna list you off movies they've been in if you don't know who Jennifer Lopez is.
Yeah.
Josh Duhamel, maybe I could understand Josh Duhamel a little bit, but he's still been in a lot. He's been in like Transformers.
Yeah, he's
what's not is it just got no?
It's
what's that one he's in with Katherine Heigl?
I know.
Oh, it's
Life as We Know It.
Life as We Know It. I like that movie. I like Josh Duhamel pretty good.
It's a good one.
So this is your movie. I'm gonna let you talk about it first.
Okay. Okay. So I did make notes, so you just bear with me. So I highly enjoyed this movie. This was, I don't know why it's just a 5.5 on this. I
might know.
Oh, I can't wait to get to that part. But I mean, I put on my notes 8 to 9 out of 10. I mean, it's not quite.
8 to 9.
Yeah, it might be more like 7, 8 out of 10.
I think it's because you like J-Lo, though.
I do like J-Lo. I enjoy J-Lo, and they were great together. So they're basically. I'm not gonna try and give like away things, but they're basically running from these. They're like pirates. They're pirates, yeah. Not legit like ship pirates, but
not
like
Jack Sparrow, real modern day pirates.
I got a job.
Well, real might be.
Yeah, it's not.
They're modern. They're a comedic take on modern day pirates.
Right. They like come and invade this island, and they're trying to, like, I guess kidnap.
They're trying to ransom the dad for money.
Right. And one character, you got to watch out for him. But so they're all like hostage, and at one point J-Lo and Josh are like,
they are separated from the group, so they're running around and
they're zip tied together. At one point, J-Lo has a grenade in her hand.
Some of that. Oh gosh, I'll let you finish.
Yes, It's fantastic. I enjoyed it. It's funny. It's sweet in some ways. It opens up. They're at the rehearsal dinner, and then someone walks in, and it's all downhill from there. It's not downhill, but I don't know. Very fun to watch. I did want to say that we'll just go right into it. Let's just hit it. It was very funny.
Head, huh? This is one of those movies I wanted to like, because again, you've heard me say already, I like Josh Duhamel. Jennifer Lopez, who doesn't love Jennifer Lopez. It had Lenny Kravitz, so it got points for having Lenny Kravitz in there. I like Jennifer Coolidge. It had Cheech Martin in here.
Yes, forgot about Cheech.
Couple other people. So I won't say I didn't like this movie. It's not that I didn't like it. It's more of, it did some really stupid things to where I, as a viewer, go, how could you possibly, like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm from where I'm at. I'm from the country.
Right.
So there's things that are in this kind of situations. It's not meant to be realistic. I understand that. I know they do things for plot. But I still can't help but be like, that is so dumb. And this is the mean part of me, and I'm going to dial it down a little bit for the podcast. But when I'm watching a movie and someone is getting chased by some kind of a villain or a murderer, and they do something stupid, I am the kind who will go, I don't care if you make it. And that's a dialed down version.
Yes.
Ooh, I get so fired up. Like there's, and without going too much into this, breaking too many details.
And there's a scene.
Point. Yeah. There's a point where they take out a bad guy, and they're zip tied together. They're not handcuffed. They're zip tied. And what do? They knock him out somehow. I think even kill him. They walk over his body and leave. And I'm screaming, you're zip tied together. That man had a gun. That man probably had a knife.
Some kind of knife on him.
And they just go. And then later they
go to this kitchen.
They go to a kitchen and they have
a meat slicer.
They have a rusty knife.
Oh yeah.
And they're struggling. They can't get it. And I'm like, listen, I know it's rusty, but that's a piece of plastic. And she's like screaming, find scissors, find scissors. And they go to a meat slicer. And of course, she having worked with the meat slicer before, is going, this is not going to end well. This is
not going to end well, because I knew exactly what was going to happen.
It doesn't. We won't tell you what happens, but it doesn't end well. No. So do you recommend this movie?
I do recommend this movie. It's fun. It's got the action in it, romance. Yeah. It's fun for me. I do recommend this movie.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. Listen, it's free on Amazon Prime. If you're hanging out with your wife and you want to watch something dumb for probably an hour and a half, it's probably not much longer.
We actually watched it with my mom.
Oh, that might not have been the best idea, but we did watch it with your.
We watched it with my mom. She's like, "Oh, it's got J-Lo in it. Let's because J-Lo is the first opening scene." Yeah. It's like, "Oh yes,
watch it."
Yeah,
I wouldn't get. After seeing it, I would not go to the movie theater and watch this movie. I would not pay extra money. I'm already paying for the service, so whatever. We got 5 days during the week to kill some hours after work. Fine. I've definitely seen them better. In fact, I was thinking about this while thinking about this movie earlier today. I would say, sure, this is fine. It can be fun. Kill it an hour and a half, whatever. I think a better marriage movie with J-Lo that came out in the past year and a half, Marry Me with Owen Wilson.
Oh my goodness.
It was a comedic. This one's kind of it's very much a action comedy romance, whereas so Marry Me is more of a romantic comedy.
Yes.
It was really good. I mean, it's
very well done, and the chemistry between Owen and J-Lo, and Owen's always funny. I don't think I've ever had a dry.
Yeah. But it's actually it's a little bit more serious too. It has the comedy, but it's a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on now, and this is going to be yours again. Just do my little thing here, and then let you go with it. I don't know. We're getting to the portion to where the next two are shows that we've watched. The first one is a show she's been watching. I've not really watched it. After that is a show that I've watched. She's not watched. So we'll jump into this one. This one is Ginny in Georgia. It stars Brienne Howie.
Howie.
Bad.
Brienne Howie.
And what's that next one?
And Tanya.
And Tanya Gentry.
Gentry, I guess.
I don't know these people. This is they're not as well known. There's a couple. Yeah. There's a couple of more well known actors in here, but it's a couple of guys. Essentially, Jenny Miller is an angsty 15-year-old. Often feels more mature than her 30-year-old mother. that is irresistible and dynamic Georgia Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to let you talk about this. I've only seen bits and pieces while you were watching, and I come through while we're doing kind of separate things at the house. So, yeah, let's see what you got.
This was one of these shows that, like, sucked me in, and I normally don't really, unless I really enjoy the show, I normally don't binge watch, but this show was bad. I watched, like, I mean, it's almost hour episodes. I think they're, like,
45 minutes.
45? Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I'd watch like 2 and 3 at a time. But it did take, I do have to say, it did take a minute, which it normally does. When I start shows, it takes me a minute to get like connected to them or like get to where I like them. So it took, but I mean, it didn't take I think like the third episode, I was like, okay, I think I'll give this a try. And I love this show. I'm a fan of this show. Yes,
it's a bit of a wild show from just
a wild
the pieces
show
that I've seen. I mean, it has everything from, you wouldn't expect it. It looks like a friend, or not really friendly, but it looks kind of like a mom and daughter story that's going to be real connected. And then I'd come through, and there's everything from the mom is going to jail for murder to
it's crazy,
yeah, and then all kinds of craziness that the mom gets into. Like that, that synopsis kind of doesn't do that justice. The mom, in your words, is a bit crazy.
She is crazy.
The teenage daughter, I don't know, is much better, but she doesn't have a great role model. So,
well, it's like Georgia Miller, which is the mom in this show, played by
she's played in something.
The Brienne Howie. She's just like any other mom. She's like trying to give her daughter like the best life. Then she has a son as well. So she's just trying to protect her family, protect her kids. But the way she does it is kind of wild. So season 1, I mean,
isn't she like, when it shows like flashbacks to her as a teenager, isn't she like in a gang or something?
she gets in a biker gang. So it's wild. She comes from like, I think her home might have been broken. She comes from a broken home, but it's the normal, like, she doesn't want her kids to have that same lifestyle, but, it starts out that they're moving from, Texas to Massachusetts. I thought I wasn't going to say that right, but Massachusetts. But I did find out that it wasn't filmed in Massachusetts.
That's not really surprising. They do that quite a bit.
Yeah, it was filmed in Toronto, and then Cabor, I think. It's they're both provinces of Canada, I think. And so
because they don't have states up there. It's like provinces,
right? So it was filmed up there, but it's like they cut in the show. They say Wellsbury, Massachusetts. Yeah. But yeah, my favorite thing about this show was that it brought a very realistic light to mental health.
That's yeah.
So
the mom definitely got some mental health issues. That's for sure.
Well,
I'm just playing. I've not seen it, so that's not a fair assessment.
But. And especially in season 2, it's very realistic, and that was one of my favorite parts about it. Yeah. So
you recommend seeing it, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
For sure.
All right, so we're getting up to my TV show here, and this is one that you haven't watched. I think you came in and seen me watching. Really, just you've probably seen less of this than I have of Ginny and Georgia. I've sit down and watched 15, 20 minutes of Ginny and Georgia, not really understanding what's going on, and there's
piece it together.
That show is a show about a teenage girl and her 30-year-old mom. I have nothing to relate to, just to be honest with you. So, not really that the drama stuff is, you know me. The only reason that I like The Menu is because some of the horror elements.
Right.
Drama is not really my thing unless you have some kind of action and comedy to reel me in. Which brings me to this one. This is a show that I think it came out in later 2022 as well. So a couple of these we're getting to a little bit late. That's why we're kind of doing several of these together. This one is called The Peripheral. I don't know if I said that already. I don't think I did, but it stars Chloe Grace Moretz, who I have followed for a long time. I've liked many of her movies. There's I won't say it on the podcast because it has a bad word in it. Right. It's a bad word for a butt. But it's kick butt. We'll just say it that way. Yes. But she's in there as a character called Hit Girl. And I love comic books. I love comic book movies. I love movies about movies and TV shows about superheroes. It's one of my biggest draws. So she was in that, and she was young in that. I mean, she was probably only like 12, 13 when she started. But I've watched a lot of the stuff she's done, and she's been pretty picky about a lot of things she's done. So I won't say I like everything she's done, but there's been a lot of properties she's been in that I like. And then her co-star in this, her main co-star, who plays her brother, is Gary Carr. We know him from Midsommar, which you didn't really care for, but
oh my goodness,
he
that's
plays
another
in that.
podcast for another time.
That is. He's played in some other things, but that's primarily what we know him for. So the synopsis for this is it's set in the future when technology has subtly altered society. A woman discovered a secret connection to an alternate reality as well as a dark future of her own. So getting into this movie is it's sci-fi, it's action, it's got some apocalyptic stuff in there. Post-apocalyptic, not really apocalyptic, but essentially, it's a show that's set in the future. It's set in 2033, if I remember correctly. So it's like it's 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And in that time, video games are still a big thing, but they're played a lot more like Ready Player One. So, right. Okay. But even kind of more advanced than Ready Player One. The way Ready Player One has it is you still kind of have kind of like what is the virtual reality?
Yeah.
I forget what they call that one. Is it Quest? I think that's one of them.
Yeah.
But even in Ready Player One, it's a little bit more like that. This is more of they have like this headset that they put on, and that's how they call them Sims. They don't really call them video games anymore. They call them Sims. And they put on the headset, and it's kind of more, I guess, like a neural link. So right. It's a lot more involved with their mental. So they can do a lot more. They have a lot more control over their person. And the big thing with this is that's kind of how the brother makes his money. He's an ex-Marine. And that plays a lot into it too. But somehow, he gets paid to help a bunch of he gets paid a lot to help like these rich people through, that can't level up and can't get through certain levels. He gets paid to like smuggle them through levels or something like that. So it's kind of funny. And she actually turns out she's better than him. And he basically gets hired most of the time because she is so good.
Yeah.
So he gets hired for this new job, and essentially the new job, the people, this company has basically hired him to test this new sim, is what they tell him. He gets the equipment for this, and and it's completely different kind of headset. The way that it goes on, it doesn't go over your eyes. It goes over like your head. And essentially with that, she uses it because she's better. So he has him use it. Right. And without going too much into it, and there's a lot into it, but that plays a big part into it, is the video game aspect. Another part, you have kind of the Ready Player One thing there. You have, because of this game, or what she thinks is a game, it turns out to be a connection to an alternate future, right. Where she is supposed to help steal something. Things go bad. The lady she was supposed to be helping goes missing, and it turns out to this crazy like back and forth. And I've seen things like this before. You've seen things where people are, they're where you have them like in like a Matrix, kind of like Matrix, right. And that's where a lot of the action ends up happening, is like in that Matrix scenario, or in the game part. And that's where they show them being like, total beasts and fighting all crazy. You have some of that here, but the thing that I liked that they flipped it was, going back to that brother. When I say he's an ex-Marine, him and all the guys he served with, there's a piece of technology that they have, and it turns out that we find out later that technology actually came from this alternate future. And I don't remember exactly how it got back. That it was in like the last 2 episodes. I need to watch the last 2 episodes again. I was working on something while I was watching them. So, but essentially they have this technology where they're connected, these Marines, and basically the way that they do it in the show, the way that they show it is the military at this point, they pick like batches of kids, especially from rural areas where they've grown up together. They know each other. They've been friends their whole life, where they're tight knit, and they give them this tech that connects them like mentally. And they can even feel like certain emotions and stuff. They have one where the brother, I think he got in trouble like years before this, where he punched a guy in the face, and he like blacked out and punched him in the face, and he had no idea why he punched him in the face until he found out later that his like sergeant or whatever, his commanding officer, had gotten bullied by this guy when he was younger. So that the technology that connects them, like blacked him out, and just it had such a strong connection. But that was really cool, and that they there was a lot of action in what is present time in there, which is still in the future. So it's weird because you have future alternate reality, and you have like a video game kind of stuff. So right. It's got a lot of layers. It's a lot to keep up with. And I didn't know that I was gonna like it. The big thing, the way I got into the show was actually watching TikTok. I seen a clip on TikTok, and it had Chloe getting hassled by these like local group of thugs or something, yeah. And it had this ex-Marine who was actually in the group with her brother, and he comes out and he's in like this future, like it's almost like a motorcycle, but he only has one arm. He's lost both legs and an arm in combat. And he has like this wheelchair that he rides around on, and he comes out and like hooks up to this like motorcycle thing. So it goes from a wheelchair to a motorcycle, and it's like a unicycle. It's like a unicycle wheelchair, and then it hooks up to this motorcycle, and that's how he gets around. And they're messing with Chloe, and they're like, I think she's trying to buy medicine for her sick mom, and they're trying to like, mess with her. Right. And he rolls up, and they're like, "What are you gonna do?" And he has a beer bottle, and he tosses that beer bottle from like 30 feet away and hits a trash can. And then he's like, "Well, I could just pull my gun out and shoot you." Oh, so wow. I seen that clip, and I was like, "Okay, that's interesting enough. That's tough. That's So yeah, I think I recommend this. The way that the end was, I need to go back and finish and watch it. There was a part of it that I don't know if I'm going to like how they do it, but I'm pretty sure it's confirmed for a season 2. And the way that they work it in, I'm interested to see how that goes. So as of right now, I recommend it. I need to go back and rewatch those, and I do want to see a second season. But yeah, it's called The Peripheral. It's on Amazon Prime. as well. And yeah, that one's it for me. So our episode ran a little longer today. That's okay. We movies and television are something we're passionate about, and we should have probably knew that we weren't going to fit.
We should have extended this.
We weren't going to fit 5 pieces of media into a 30-minute span, but that's okay. One or two of these can go a little longer. They'll be all right. But all right. Yeah. So, and we're excited about the next episode. We've already, we actually, I think I said this at the beginning of the video. We recorded that one before this. We recorded it last night. Our next topic is going to be music. And we're going to have our first guest on.
Star.
So, he's a local musician, and kind of, I wanted to throw this out here. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to touch on episode 3, talk about our friend that's a musician bringing on, because it goes back to talking about our friends Alpine Motel.
Yes, again, so February 17th, 6 p.m. at the Hard Rock Casino in Bristol. And it is a 21 and up event.
Yes.
So
but the reason I wanted to kind of tie those two things together is, since we've talked about, keeping this going, the first episode was kind of our test, but now that we're keeping this going, one of the things that we want to do, and we haven't exactly talked about this, but I feel like you're kind of with me on it, is we want to use this platform to help out our friends who are musicians, It makes good content, if you're going to have guests on, why not have, your friends, for one, if you can help them in their business or whatever they're doing. And especially, if you're going to do music content, have local artists on. I mean, that's a big thing with me. I grew up in the local music scene. I that's where I got my start. I've been in Wythe County for 30 years, and I've been to more local shows than I've ever been to big concerts, and I prefer it that way. Right. I don't get to go to many as I would like. But, our friend that's coming on tomorrow night, he's starting out, and we're trying to help him, not really help him. It's not like we're going to help him get shows or anything, but we want to, do what we can to promote him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do something. Our friends that we met today, promote them. I've talked to a couple of other friends that are musicians that I want to talk about bringing them on. I have other friends that, I've not even talked to, but I want to bring them on. So yeah, I think that, and I think that's a cool thing that helps us keep content going.
Yeah.
And it'll be interview style, but not it's not going to be a strict interview. We're not going to have we're probably not even going to have super written questions. Might have a little outline, but yeah. Yes. Well, that's all I've got. Anything you'd like to say?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Love you guys. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.